This is a tutorial on how to create your own stuffed animal patterns using a questionnaire, and I do 13 questions to work up a design page. The first question you have to ask yourself is, what are you making? And here I'm doing a purple alien, which is Stitch, and we're going to remove the trademark resemblances. So that leads to the second question. How much detail is in what you are making? If you're doing something similar, you have to write down how much detail there is. The next thing you have to do is ask yourself, can you remove a certain amount of detail without losing its distinct visual look? And then you go about doing so. And then smoothing out your lines, because you don't want to add too much detail. It gives you more work. So at this point, we're going to start putting our questionnaire on our design page. The next question is, what size stuffed animal do you want to make, and what loom will you require? This can work the same for crochet and for knitting. You just have to work with it from what you got. The other question is, what color yarn will you need, and what kind of yarn thickness will you need? And you put that up in the corner and the colors you need and everything. And then you ask yourself, what kind of stitches will you use? Will you need a special yarn to create a special effect? Not really with this project. But you put notes like that on there, and then your next questions are, what are your basic shapes in your animal you're creating? What techniques might you use to create the shape? Will you do the head vertically or horizontally? The 13th question is, how many color changes will you need to do, and will this affect the way you go about making the animal? And after you go about answering these questions, what you want to do is go in and start hunting down different patterns that you found online that give you the shape that you want and what you're after. And so I'm going to show you an example of ones I'm going to use to create this pattern. I'm going to use my teddy bear pattern for the tail. I'm going to use my turtle pattern for the head. The body's going to be the head. I'm going to use my elephant pattern for the legs and body, and my rabbit pattern for the ears. Now what you'll need to do is you'll need to write out a tentative draft, make it up. I would suggest starting with a real small loom that you can double the size in to work up a draft, and then work it up larger. So after you've done this, please go to part 2 to see how you work up your draft and how you work up your notes.